Oh my, have fun indeed. That is what we're here to do. And that's why we're going to focus on 3 rules to remember about crit racing. Hey everybody, welcome back to Crit Dad. Eldorado Race Series number 5. This is our training grounds every Tuesday in Long Beach. There wasn't a whole ton to talk about in this video, so that's why I decided to make a refresher course. If you're new to racing, these are all 3 things that you should remember. I always like to focus on 4 to 5 riders that make an impact in the race, whether it's because they got on the podium or they're showing us something to remember. But first, let's take a look at Daniel here in the South Bay Wheelman kit.
Yeah, I made it on Crit that video.
And that is Daniel in a nutshell. Congrats on getting 3rd of the bunch sprint in this race. We got Matt Wigden coming down from Pasadena with all sorts of power. He's got his own video. I will link it in the description below. We got Mark here in the OC Velo kit. He raced with us last year. What's up, man? Everyone's chit-chatting, going slow in the first lap, and he casually just puts his hands on the top bars, and it brings me to my first rule, and that is to always have our hands in the hoods or preferably in the drops. I was just going to use my own image here to show that another reminder is to have our fingers over the brake levers, which everyone in this image has adopted. No hands on the top bars, no puppy paws, which is draping our hands over the middle in an arrow position. Mark, I hope you don't mind me using you for this example. For the rest of the race, you are in the drops, which is the safest position, and we'll touch on that at the end of the race. And then lastly, we have Pietrangelo, the breakaway artist, and this is the only footage I have of him. After that, I never see him again, despite my best efforts to catch him. Very impressive in the wind for 40 minutes by herself, and I mentioned that in one of my first videos. Let's go back in time and take a look at that. If it's not Julian, Daniel, or Cliff, or Brandon, then nobody goes. So it's a good, if you want to come out and be strong and win this race and you're a stranger, just break away and no one will follow you. And that's basically what he did. He broke away early. There was a small 3 to 4 riders off the front who, I guess they didn't follow him out because we end up catching them, and Pietrangelo is nowhere to be found. So if you have you can see him right there. If you have a big old 4.2 watts per kilo for 40-minute power, you can come out here and just dust the field, I guess. But yeah, super impressive. Not very common. Let's cut forward to where we try to catch the first break. Alright, so it's about 10 minutes into the race, and the field is getting pretty tired of looking at this breakaway dangling in front of them. So I think Matt Wigden's the first one to just launch, and he bridges up there, but that energizes 4 riders, including Shannon Jones here in the SBW kit. Nice work, dude. I decided to just put on some more power because I want this to be over with sooner than later. And we get up here, and I confirm with the other riders, like, is this everybody? And they say, nope, green jersey off the front. So hunt continues, and once you get to this point in the back stretch, you can pretty much just soft pedal around 200 watts because the group's gonna bunch up in the wind. Top tip. Okay, so here we are about 26 minutes into the race. The field has been pretty sluggish for the entire race. Even with that solo breakaway off the group, no one has really been able to put together anything, and so I'm debating on what to do here. I'm motivated to catch the break. I don't want to sprint for second place, so my thoughts are slowly accelerate and drag the whole group with me, or just snap and create a gap and then hope that anyone else who is motivated will follow. And nobody goes at all. So I told some of the guys I was gonna go to try and maybe help me, but what, I'm not gonna drag the field with me and then flick an elbow and watch them all slow down again. So I think this is the right move. Another rider you start to see him in my rear view here in a minute. He decided to go, and I think he went from the back of the field. And, I waited until we were in the tailwind. I slingshotted. I did all those things. And then at this point, I'm doing a PR power. So it was kind of like, let's see what I got. If I catch him, maybe I can stay in his draft. Maybe he'll just become demotivated and come back. I'm not going to have much to add as far as repeatability goes, because I do almost 400 watts for 2 minutes, and that is not something that I can repeat. So just to give you guys a little context, I'm not showing you this blank screen of just open track to flex, but I live here, I live right next to the track, and I practice intervals, and I can do 6x2 300 watts repeated. So I know I can do 300 watts for 2 minutes over and over and over again. Once I've hit 400 watts for 2 minutes, that's kind of the end of my race, because I know where my max intervals are. And so that's just more data that I can apply to the next race. I knew that this was my effort. I knew I wouldn't have it for the final. I knew I would have something, but I knew it wouldn't be as potent. But, I look at the data, I comb through, I come out to this track by myself, and I see what's possible. The wind conditions are pretty much the same all the time. So if you want to learn more about the training that I do, or if you're interested in the type of training that I do, please let me know in the comments. It's helped me a lot, and I can go deep into it. All right, so here I noticed this rider as the green number tag. So he's in our group, and it was a pretty big effort there. So I thought I caught the breakaway, but I knew green jersey. And I'm like, well, his jersey's not green, but his number's green. Maybe they just are saying green number because I'm delirious now. But he's dropped. I finally realized this after recovering for like a minute. And he's doing the right thing. So this brings us to our next rule, and that is that you cannot draft on the other groups in front of us. So in this particular race event, there are 4 groups running at the same time. There's a Cat 4-5, there's the women's group, there's the masters group, and then there's the pro 1-2-3. And it's not something that is easily understood until you're out there and you get passed by a group. A lot of times we won't get passed, or we won't pass another group, but once you experience that, then you realize like you can't jump on. And I remember my first couple crits, I also jumped on the back of the pro field and everyone yelled at me. I'll have another example of that here in a minute. So in this kind of race, is something you just cannot do. Once the group starts passing you, you have to neutralize, you have to stop your attack. It can get really messy if you're on the final lap, but that's just the way it is. And here you see this blue rider catches up with me, so he did a pretty awesome effort by himself as well. I get in his draft. You can start to see the group in the rear view. I already said that like I don't have a ton of repeatability at this speed. So we get around the corner. We do this for like another lap and another half a lap, and the group catches us. All right, so here the pro group catches us, and I am familiar with all these riders and their jerseys. That's Brandon York on the front, and then of course the black and yellow methods to winning is Sharon. And you kind of you can see Matt starts to latch on to the group, and we're yelling at him. And there's another rider who's thinking about it, and he's looking back, and he's slowing down. And so that's, yeah, you can't do that. And I think I did the same thing. Sharon's usually pretty vocal about it. Usually the group is pretty loud about saying, like, hold your line. And, we did our best to just let everyone know you can't do that. And then the chase group of the P123s, led out by Julian, follows us again. And they are not super vocal that they're passing, so I'm yelling, stay right, hold your line, all that stuff. And I think everybody understood from the last section there that we need to let these guys pass. And this is going into 1 to go. Luckily, this has happened on the final lap of our race right here. And so now we've had to then start sprinting into the back of them when they're not finished. It's a lot. So luckily this was one to go. And anyways, here we go. One to go. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Third corner, 1,200 meters. So this is pretty much where the whole race sets up. If you've sat in the whole race and you got a good snap, you can go pretty much just after this corner. Top tip for Cat 4 racing, since everybody's just looking at each other, wondering who's going to go first. I wasn't really super happy with being all the way back there going into the third corner, but now I am too far up. And so when in doubt, lead out. I have to go here. So I've moved up too quickly. I'm not going to decelerate during the last sprint at this point to try and get behind other riders. So I have to go. I already made my big effort for this race, so this isn't going to be a winning long minute sprint. And one of the mistakes I make as we get up here to the last corner is not taking this inside line. It's wide open, and it would be safer for me to be on there instead of letting people pass me on my left. So if you find yourself wide open in the front of the group, just move over to that inside line and protect it and keep that door closed. People will go around you on the right. It's a lot safer than people pushing you out from the inside, and that's exactly what happens here. I veer left and accidentally hit another rider, and that brings us to our third rule, and that is hold your line. I'm at the wrong here. You can see my camera goes left. Other people said subtly I moved over. Luckily, I hit hand to hand in the drops. You can see it again from the rear view here. That rider's just trying to shoot the gap that I left open. He's not really on a train, but it's my fault for moving over. I didn't hold my line. Let me know if you see it any other way, but honestly, I think if I would have held my line and not scooted to the left, it would have been fine. So hold your line. Luckily I didn't crash, and it's like on these last sprint efforts, you have to hold your line because people are going to be trying to come around you as you're dying. And that is why I'm in Cat 4. So let's listen to Lance tell us. Thank you, sir. And I think that's the right call there. Even if it's subtle, it's important for all of us to be super vocal and hold our line through there. This touches on the first rule on the hand placement. Keep your hands in the drops on this last 1,000 meters. On this last minute and a half of the race, put your f***ing hands in the goddamn drops. So luckily I did. Luckily the other rider did. If they're in the hoods, you can hook. 2 hoops can hook. If you're in the drops, your arms are wide, your elbows are wide, your hands the widest point. You have a better chance of staying alive that way. So hands in the drops, hold your line, and don't draft the group in front of you. Those are the 3 rules for today. Other rules are gonna just finish CBR. That was a wild one. We can talk about dive bombing and protecting your front wheel. That's 2 more. So keep doing these, 10 things to remember. If you're new, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Usually do a lot more content on there before I put up a video. Hope you enjoyed this one. I hope that it helps all the new racers and is a reminder to all the current ones. And let's keep it safe out there. And speaking of CBR and this race in particular, Ben Israel took the bunch sprint for second place. Pietrangelo took first with the solo breakaway, and the third rider I'm unfamiliar with, please comment below. Ben was involved in the cone crash at CBR, and I've been pretty vocal about the cones, and we're going to be talking about that coming up in the next video. Ben, I hope you heal up quickly and come back to racing soon. Last thing I want to say about that inside line is that it's not the fastest line around that corner if it's slowing down and getting crowded out because everybody wants to be there. I have a video coming up where I tried the line myself. I try to keep it closed as long as possible, and it gets crowded out and the winner goes around me. So the fastest line is the line that is open. let's remember to stay safe and cautious going around the inside line of that third corner, and I'll see you to the next one.
Yeah, I was almost at 2 wrecks on that back side, like the last 400 meters or so. That was such a sloppy race.